Immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light. The stars will fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens will be shaken. Then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in heaven. And then all the tribes of the earth will mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. Here we see Yeshua mentioning another sign. This is also the book of Matthew. Matthew is the only one to mention the star of the king that the wise men saw. He's the only one to mention the sign of the Son of Man. What is the sign of the Son of Man? Is it a cross? Is it a lamb? Let's consider an early sign used in Christianity, a sign associated with the Messiah. What about a fish? We know from this verse and others that Yeshua was considered a fisher of men. And while he was walking by the lake of Galilee, he saw two brothers, Simon, the one called Peter, and Andrew his brother, casting a net into the lake, for they were fishermen. And he said to them, "You must come after me, and I shall make you fishers of men." The first thing that he mentions, he's starting his ministry, and he says, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to fish for men. So fish is a big part. He did a lot of miracles with fish. Let's look at the end of Yeshua's ministry. This is after he was resurrected. And after these things, Yeshua revealed himself again to the disciples at the lake of Tiberias, and he revealed himself like this. They left and embarked in the boat, and during that night they caught nothing. And after dawn came Yeshua, already stood on the shore, though the disciples did not know it was Yeshua. Then Yeshua said to them, "Children, do you have any fish?" They answered him, "No." And he said to them, "You must cast a net to the right side of the boat, and you'll find fish." Then they cast, and they no longer had the ability to haul it on account of the great number of the fish. Then Simon Peter went up and hauled up the net to the shore, full of 153 big fish. Even when there were so many, the net was not torn. Here we have the end of his ministry on earth. He's still talking about fish. And we're talking about a lot of fish, and they're big fish. So he started out talking about fishing for men. Now he's talking about fishing for nations, because 153 stands for the nations of the world. The nations have always varied. Right now we have 193 recognized nations, but at the beginning of the 19th century there are only like 56 nations. So these numbers fluctuate dramatically as countries are divided and formed. But he's showing here again, he's still thinking about fishing for men. So the fish is definitely a symbol associated with the Messiah. Well, did others see that? Well, we know from this quote from Tertullian, this is the earliest example that we have of an acronym representing fish. And this is written in Latin. We see it in English here, but Tertullian wrote in Latin. And he says, "We little fishes, after the image of our," and this is the Greek fish, it's not in Latin, this is Greek, "Jesus Christ, are born in the water." So everything is Latin. Then we get this word for fish is in Greek. Why? Because it's an acronym that the early Christians used to identify themselves. It's the letters that spell out fish in Greek. And even though he's writing in Latin, he writes this in Greek, because if you look down here below, the Greek words for Jesus Christ, God's Son and Savior, are the first letters, and each of those Greek words spell out fish. So it was definitely used by the early Christians to identify the Messiah and identify themselves. He says that Yeshua is the big fish. We also have funerary engravings back in the 2nd century. And here we have two fish and an anchor. Very commonly found symbol back then. It was not a cross. It wasn't the cross did not appear until the Romans co-opted Christianity, took over it, made it their own, kicked out the Jews, and then they added the cross. But the early Christians were fish. So we got to get back to what was the original Christianity like? We need to get back to the Hebraic roots and find out what was lost. And anyway, you see at the left side here, you see those Greek letters for fish right there. So it's very obvious. Yeshua talked about fish, the early Christians talked about fish, and they even drew pictures of fish. And with the anchor of hope. That's their hope. So obviously, the sign of the Son of Man most likely has something to do with fish. So here we have two fish. Where do we see two fish in the constellations? Right here, Pisces. Two fish. What a perfect place to symbolize the sign of the Son of Man. We're looking at the position of these fish in 3 BC at the vernal equinox when the sun it was in March 25th back then, when the sun is in when there's equal days and nights in the spring. That's the vernal equinox. That's when you measure the beginning of when the age is measured. Where is the sun in the vernal equinox? You know what age we're in now? You've heard of the age of Aquarius. But what age are we in now? Well, did you know we're in the age of Pisces? When did we start to get in the age of Pisces? Well, this is when Yeshua was born. We didn't even know about ages until about that time, because we didn't know about the precession of equinoxes. The Earth has a slight wobble. It takes about 25,000 years or so for it to wobble through all the constellations. And so the vernal equinox doesn't stay in the exact same spot every year. It slowly moves. So here we have the fishes, and we have in the year that Yeshua was born, the sun was just entering Pisces on March the 25th, which was the vernal equinox back then. So that marks the age that you're in, where the sun is on the vernal equinox. So the age of Pisces started when Yeshua was born. It was just starting. He was born at the beginning of the age of Pisces. The fisher of men was born at the beginning of the age of the fishes. Look at that. Where do you think the sun is now? It's 2014 here on March the 20th, which is the vernal equinox. The sun has migrated all the way over, almost to the end of the fish. It's gone down the string. It's still in Pisces. We've been in the age of Pisces for 2,000 years. Ever since the fisher of man came, all the way up till now, it's been the age of fishes. It's been a time to fish for men. During this time, Christianity has changed the world from plural to monotheistic, to one God. And so this is an accurate representation of what is the sign, what sign would be the sign of the Son of Man. We're in the fish age. The fisher of men was born at the beginning of the age of the fishes. It looks like an accurate symbol to use. Yeshua was born when the star of the king in the lion lined up with Jupiter. That became the star of Yeshua. That's what the wise men saw. And we know that's accurate. What if that same Jupiter is involved with Pisces? Matthew is the only one to list these two signs, And if Jupiter was involved in the first sign, why can't we consider Jupiter is not involved with the second sign? That would be prophetically accurate. What if Pisces plus Jupiter equals the sign of the Son of Man? What about that? That might be the sign. It can't be just Pisces. Pisces it's there every day. It goes through the sky. What kind of sign is Pisces alone? Just like the Star of the King, it's just in the constellation. It goes through the sky every day. But Jupiter's not always in there. It takes 12 years for Jupiter to make its orbit around. Same way with Pisces. Jupiter's not always in there. So you need to have more than just the constellation. You got to have something in there. Very possible that Pisces plus Jupiter is a sign of the Son of Man. Well, where do you think Jupiter went when we ended in Revelation chapter 12? You recall that Jupiter had been saved from the deluge of Aquarius. Mercury had gone on March the 21st, 2022. The tribulation was basically over for Israel at that point. And then John stops. He ends is Revelation chapter 12. What he doesn't tell you is where was Jupiter at that point. After he finishes. You want to know where Jupiter goes next after he escapes the deluge of Aquarius? You guessed it. Pisces. So here you have the sign of the Son of Man, Jupiter in Pisces. It's sequentially right after Revelation 12. It fits in perfect with with events that are happening. Here we have on April the 14th, 2022. Actually, it's the beginning of the 15th. This is when the first day that Jupiter enters the sign of the Son of Man, according to NASA's data. You can see here, April 15th. It's the first day. He was in Aquarius, and it's in Pisces. Of course, NASA trims the constellations down to a certain 30 degrees each, I think, and so it's not always exactly accurate, but this is what they say. April 15th is the first day that Jupiter is in Pisces, so that would be the first day that the sign of the Son of Man is in Pisces. What is significant about April 15th, 2022? You won't believe it. That's Passover. Right before Passover, just hours before, Jupiter enters Pisces, according to NASA. It's like 8 hours before. It's first visible at sunset on Passover. Amazing. You have another sign on an appointed time. The sign of the Son of Man is appearing on Passover. Right there. This is just amazing. Now look what Yeshua said. Immediately after the tribulation, he says, then the sign of the Son of Man will appear. Now let's compare this statement. We've already read it before. Let's compare this with what John said at the end of Revelation chapter 12. Because that's where we left off with following Jupiter. Now we're continuing to follow Jupiter beyond Revelation 12. See if we can discern what's happening. Because he was following Jupiter. Why can't we continue to follow Jupiter? We should be able to. So the sign of the Son of Man appears. What is the last thing that John says? He says, and the dragon was enraged with the woman, and he went to make war with the rest of her offspring. So he's saying the dragon changes his tactics. Yeshua said it's after the tribulation. John says he changes his tactics. Why? Because he's ending his tribulation as far as Israel's concerned, and he's making war with who? The Jews and the Christians. Look what Yeshua said. And the sign of the Son of Man will appear in heaven, and then all the tribes of the earth will mourn. Why are they mourning? Because he's making war with the Jews and the Christians. You see how this fits perfectly with what John says in his last verse of Revelation 12. This seems to mesh perfectly with what John says. Okay, the next thing Yeshua says. He says, we'll go back to the first part. immediately after the tribulation. According to John, and following Jupiter, that was, as far as Israel is concerned, when was that? That was on March the 21st, 2022, when it escaped the deluge from Aquarius. What's going to happen immediately after that date? The sun will be darkened, the moon will not give its light, and the stars will fall from heaven. Well, that sounds like a solar eclipse, a lunar eclipse, and a meteor storm. What else could that be? And he says the sun will be darkened. He doesn't say it's totally black. So that looks like a partial solar eclipse, then a lunar eclipse, and then a meteor storm. Let's look at what happens after March 21st, April 2022. Excuse me. Here we have the first sign that Yeshua mentioned in April 30th of 2022. So we're about another month down, but that's still pretty close to immediately after. We have a partial solar eclipse. It's not seen from Israel. You have to be down in Australia, South America. But it still happens. A partial solar eclipse happens just slightly a month after Jupiter escapes the deluge of Aquarius. Yeshua said immediately after. All right, so April 30th, 2 weeks later, the second sign, a total lunar eclipse happens, visible in Israel. You can see the white area below. Israel's in the white. It's visible. So we have two of the signs. And this isn't totally unusual to have a solar eclipse and 2 weeks later have a lunar eclipse. That happens a lot. But what happens after that is unusual, to have a meteor storm. Look at what happens 2 weeks after that, on May 31st, 2022. There is a projected meteor storm for the disintegration of Comet 73P. This comet was discovered in 1930. It started breaking up in 1995. It started disintegrating. It had a 436 increase in magnification times. And they didn't know why, and then it was all breaking up. It started exploding. This cloud of debris that you see in red in this picture here is intersecting. There's an Earth's orbit path, that line. That cloud of debris in red is going to intersect the Earth right there on May 31st. You can Google 2022 on the internet and look in Wikipedia and look at the events, and you'll see expected meteor storm. So this is a highly anticipated storm. People have been waiting for this and expecting this for years. This is not just a run-of-the-mill storm like some of the meteor showers that happen every year. No, this is only going to happen now. In 2064, the Earth's orbit will come close to some of these pockets. You see, every 5 years there's a circle of debris. But the Earth is only going to barely touch. It's not even going to really hit in 2064. So there's really not going to be a major meteor storm even then. There might be a light shower, but this is the only time. This is going to be it for a meteor storm from this comet, and it lines up perfectly with the three things that Yeshua prophesied in the same order that Yeshua prophesied them. Isn't that amazing? Here is a picture taken from the Spitzer Space Telescope in 2006. It's a 3-day image of Comet 73P disintegrating, and there's 36 pieces visible. And this picture is called A Million Pieces. Just millions of pieces. It's just disintegrating every 5 years it goes around the sun. It disintegrates more. So it is just totally, you see the long line is the main path of the comet, and all these debris, you see all the other bright marks along the line. And if you look closely, you can count this millions and billions of particles, all sizes, from small grains of sand to big boulders. And these are going to hit the Earth May 31st, 2022, exactly as Yeshua prophesied, you're going to have all these 4 signs that he prophesied are going to happen basically in a 1-month period. Isn't that amazing? They're all in the same order. The sign of the Son of Man, Yeshua doesn't mention it till after the meteor storm, but it's continual. The sign of the Son of Man, if Jupiter in Pisces, will stay in Pisces for a year. So the sign of the Son of Man is continuous through all of this. So it's really arbitrary when you want to mention the sign of the Son of Man appearing. It's going to continue to appear for a whole year. But you have a partial solar eclipse, you have a total lunar eclipse, and you have a meteor storm, all within 1 month. The 3 things Yeshua prophesied are going to occur, and they're not only going to occur, they're going to occur chronologically with all these other events we've been seeing at the right time. The time that agrees with John being after the tribulation of Israel. It is just simply amazing if you look at the probability that you're going to have this. And this is a one-time meteor storm. There won't be any more from this, as far as we know. And if there is, it'll be way in the future. Okay, we're going to look at Jupiter going into Pisces. We're in the month of May. We're jumping a week at a time. Then Mars comes in. We know that John said it persecute the believers in Yeshua. So that represents that. Jupiter turns around, starts its retrograde motion. We're in August 2022. Then it starts going back. And at this point, it makes its closest approach to the Earth for the rest of the century. This, every 12 years, Jupiter makes a orbit around all the constellations, and it comes back to where it was every 12 years. So there's usually a close approach every 12 years, but this is the closest for many of those orbits for the rest of the century. This is unusual. This is the closest it'll get for a long time, probably 100 years or more. What is significant? This is September the 26th, 2022. And according to NASA, here's the data from the Horizons database. You can see September 26th. Look at the second column from the far right, the delta dot. That's delta, distance of travel. That's a velocity. It's gone from negative, and then when it starts to go to positive, that's when the planet it's coming towards you. It's negative velocity, and it's positive. It starts to go away from you. So that's the point of closest approach when that number is almost 0, and it's on September the 26th. There's the database query showing you it is going to happen on September 26th that it makes this closest approach. What is the significance of September 26th? It's going to be Yom Teruah. Here we have another sign on appointed time. The sign of the Son of the Man, it first appeared on Passover, and now it makes its closest approach on Yom Teruah. This is amazing. These signs will not repeat. All of these events are coming together in this time period. And here we have Yom Teruah. There it is in red, September 26th, the first day of Yom Teruah. It makes its closest approach. It's the biggest, it's the brightest, it'll be easiest seen. It'll be very visible. So here you have the sign of the Son of Man, very visible. Jupiter in Pisces, and this is just 10 days before what's coming, Yom Kippur. 10 days later, what happens on Yom Kippur? That's expected. Day of the Lord. The 1260th day is the 4th of the month. Yom Kippur is on the 5th, when we expect to see the day of the Lord. It's just simply amazing. You have the sign of the Son of Man on the day of the Lord. It's still there. And 10 days earlier, it made its closest approach. It's the biggest and brightest it'll be for the rest of the century. Everything lines up. Everything agrees with the Scriptures.